Yo, yo, good morning. Good morning to the freedom marchers, freedom lovers, and freedom family out there. Snapzilla Gorilla in the building, hitting y'all with this quick live stream. It's just a quick live stream. We're going to go over this real quick. Salute to Real Eyes up in the building, per usual. Thank you for the support, Real Eyes. I appreciate you. Yes, just got through doing some shit down at the park. Did my sprints, did my little lower body calisthenic workout with some Muay Thai drills mixed in. About to head to the house and finish it up. Salute to Insane Talk. Salute to you, brother. Love indeed, sir. California love indeed. Now I live in the South, though. I live in South Carolina now, but, Cali through and through. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this, man, because this is kind of wild, right? Donald Trump, Donald Trump declared this war on the cartels, and he literally meant he was going to go to war, but not necessarily with the cartels, in my opinion, okay? Because this shit ain't adding up. I talked about the first boat he blew up that killed the 11 people. I talked about that, and I got into how ridiculous that is. What's ridiculous is that they claim these boats have these drugs on it, but they present no evidence whatsoever. They just say, look, there was drugs on this boat, we blew it out of the water. Imagine, right? Imagine if they did that right here on U.S. soil. I want you guys to look at what we got going on here. Because, of course, Donald Trump supporters, folks on the right, all that shit, his normal minions are going to tell y'all it's a great thing what he's doing, right? He's going to war with these cartels. But the way he's doing it, it kind of makes no sense. Because, look, I want to ask y'all, what's the difference between a war on drugs and a war on the cartels? Right? Well, with the war on drugs, you really can't have a war on drugs, right? Drugs are drugs. They're plant matter. They don't have their own, they don't live, right? They're not alive. They're not sentient beings like humans. So how are you going to war against drugs? You're not, right? What you're doing is you're capitalizing on the black market. That's what the government did when they went to war on drugs. They're capitalizing on the black market. They benefit from the black market in a lot of different ways. And not only that, not only did the government, they're benefiting from the war on drugs in a way that you guys will never understand. Because not only are they profiting from the war on drugs by finagling in the black markets, right? But they're also they're filling up these prisons. They're increasing the amount of slave labor within the nation, right? And they're getting away with it because they're taking these drugs and they're saying, look, if you get caught with this drug, you're gonna get this amount of time. If you caught with that drug, you get this amount of time. And all that shit. And at the same time, they're flooding the streets with these drugs. So they're benefiting in multiple different ways from the war on drugs. And the war on drugs was never designed to stop drugs from entering into the country. It was never designed to stop people from using drugs. No, it was just another way for the government to assert its power over the people. Someone says drugs are great. I wouldn't say drugs are great, but I'm going to get into a little bit of that. But fast forward to today. Donald Trump declared war on the cartels. It's not a new war, y'all. He's just changing the name from drugs to drug cartels. So when you do that, what you're doing is you're not only declaring war on drugs, he also declared the drug cartels as terrorist organizations. And if he declares the cartels as terrorist organizations, Well, he can essentially wage war on the cartels. That was the purpose behind that. But you have to ask yourself, okay, you declare war on the cartels. Why go out of why go into international waters? And in this case, with the small boat that he killed the 3 people on, it was in U.S. waters, right? It was right there in our jurisdiction. But you're encroaching upon Venezuelan territory with an entire fleet of warships. A fleet of warships. Salute to Queen Sister Cameron in the building. Y'all go check out Convos with Cam. I don't know if you can drop your link. No, you can't because you're driving. So don't even do it. But y'all go check her out. Click on her thing and go. Oh, I got a booger? Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave that there for you. Anyway, marijuana is not a drug. Marijuana is great. I mean, yeah, if you enjoy marijuana, as long as you are getting as long as you know where you're getting your marijuana from, because now they're doing all kind of shit to marijuana that's kind of wild, yo. It is modern day slavery, Brandon Ronan. But think about this. Why go down to Venezuela with not down to Venezuela, but near Venezuela with warships to start blowing up tiny little boats that they say have drugs on it that they have yet to prove? Well, why not just seize the boats and get the drugs off of there and show the people, look, this is what these ships had on it? No, you're obliterating the boat, and you're obliterating any evidence that there were drugs on this boat. And you just want us to believe that, that boat had drugs on it. So help me understand what this is accomplishing. What are you accomplishing by destroying tiny boats that you say have drugs on it, but you keep killing all these people? You keep destroying all these boats. Where are the major arrests? When are you going to announce, we just killed this major cartel leader? It is an excuse for war against Venezuela, Ken Garjay. They are trying to intimidate Maduro so that he can resign, and they can, of course, plant their puppet government in there and start using Venezuela for their resources, which is they're sitting on one of the largest oil reserves in the whole world over there in Venezuela. Cocaine flood the Florida coast. I mean, I'm pretty sure it does. Are they in the Florida coast stopping these drugs from coming into the country? Or are they taking their sights down to Venezuela and blowing up tiny little boats? Meanwhile, we still have drugs entering into the country. Donald Trump is telling us that the border is closed. But how do we know that? How do we know that? Because not the drugs don't only come through the coast. They come across the Pacific Ocean as well. They also come in. They go around all that. They come in from the Pacific coast. Don't worry about my mixture. I don't know why you guys are so obsessed with the level of blackness I got in me, or whatever the case may be. I don't understand that obsession. But y'all can go on ahead with that. I don't understand why that's relevant, but it is what it is. You got very infatuated by me. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to give you guys information. Maybe I need to stop. Maybe I just need to have my my avatar up there instead of you seeing me in the camera. I don't know what's going on. Japan said those are not drug boats. I haven't heard that, but I'll look it up. Bro, no OME obsessed with your mud slim little bro. You guys are sad and pathetic. Anyway, I would trust your expertise in where drugs enter the country. It's not my expertise. This is information from experts that deal with this shit on a daily basis. Drugs don't enter through Mexico. Salute to y'all. Northwest Gardner, Sharp, Michael Martino. Salute to y'all. Salute to everybody coming in the building. Who cares what China says? Who knows? So, salute to y'all. Anyway, but here's my question. There are drug cartels operating in Mexico. right south of the border. Why aren't we focusing our energy on the cartels south of the border that's not only smuggling drugs, but they're smuggling children too. They're trafficking children all over the place. Why not declare war against the sex trafficking cartels, which are, they're basically the same as the drug cartels. They are still trafficking children all around the place. Why aren't we focusing our energy on that instead of drugs that people are going to gain access to no matter what the government does? See, here's the problem. When you prohibit drugs, you create a black market. Well, who is regulating the black market? Who's ensuring that within the black market, these drugs are not getting stepped on, they're not being contaminated, they aren't putting additives in there to what they stretch the drugs out, right? They add chemicals to it. That's how they created crack from cocaine, right? They wanted to be able to stretch their cocaine out and make as much money as possible because it was hard, right? If you got caught with these drugs, you do a lot of time or whatever. So they step on the drugs, and guess what? It becomes more dangerous, right? Well, if they were not made to be prohibited, there could be more regulation. There could be an insurance of purity. People won't be killing each other for a certain market, right? And there would be a lot less violence and crime if these drugs weren't prohibited. There probably would not be crack, right? There probably would not be crack because in order to flood the streets with it, they had to make a small amount stretch. So they add chemicals to make it stretch out, and then it turned into crack rock. They created crack rock on accident using chemical compounds that are a lot more dangerous than pure cocaine. Bro, to be honest, this isn't a Donald Trump thing. We've been doing. Oh yeah, I know it's not just the Donald Trump thing, but Donald Trump is escalating in creations, right? This has, in my opinion, has nothing to do with drugs. This has everything to do with trying to intimidate Maduro, to box him in, to make Maduro desperate, and maybe get Maduro to attack one of these, one of the ships or whatever, right? To get Maduro to engage and all this stuff, because Maduro already sent out fighter jets, right, to fly over and try to kind of like discourage certain situations. There's a lot of activity down there, but we're blowing up these tiny little boats and destroying all evidence of any drugs. And this is something that doesn't make sense. This is accomplishing nothing in regards to stopping the flow of drugs into the country, right? Kangar J says it started out that way, focusing on Mexico and investing in cartels and government in Mexico, but then it slowly led to putting their eyes on Venezuela. They've been had their eyes on Venezuela. They've had their eyes on Venezuela for quite a while. They have been trying to they want Venezuela, y'all. I just want you guys to understand that. Now, they're not going to take it over and make Venezuela part of the U.S., but they want to plant their government. They want to put a puppet government in there so that they can have access to certain things, so they can have, trade agreements with Venezuela that would benefit not the country. They're going to convince you we're going to sell all this oil. We got all access to oil. We can get it cheap. We can sell the oil. We can do this. We can do that. But what benefit are we going to get from it? Are we going to get a stipend? Or do we get stipends when we sell oil to other countries, right? When we drill, and we get all these, when we get a surplus of oil to the point where we can sell it, do we get a check? No, we don't. We sell this extra oil, we have more oil than we need. We're able to access it, drill it, pull it out of the ground, and we sell it to other nations. We don't get no motherfucking check. Where's the check at? Where we getting are we getting paid? I know, in Libya, when Muammar Gaddafi was president of Libya, the people of Libya got stipends from the oil that he sold. We're not getting that. Good morning to Tiny D in the building. Our oil is light oil, not heavy oil. Whatever the case may be, they refine it and they make it do what it need to do. They make the oil do what it need to do. That's why they put it in refineries. Why they put additives. They make it do what it do. dude get a brain before he spew nonsense. What nonsense did I spew? Help me understand, Howdy Pilgrim. Tell me what nonsense I spewed. Donald Trump didn't have his Department of War destroy a drug boat and kill 3 people? What? I mean, Maduro is not saying that he knows what the U.S. is doing, trying to intimidate him, trying to engage in this little farce when really they're trying to go to war. What am I spewing? What? BBB. We're talking about Donald Trump having his Department of War destroy a tiny little drug boat and kill 3 people. And they're so proud of it. The pride in this little op is really kind of crazy, right? But, you know, this is par for the course. Yeah, what I'm telling y'all, it actually happened. Okay, it's a third. There's a third U.S. forces strike. Third alleged drug vessel, killing 3 people. Yeah, Donald Trump said it himself. So if I'm spewing nonsense, go holler at Donald Trump, because he's the one that told us that in the first place. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Yes, gas is made from oil. Like, they refine it. They pull it out of the ground. They do what they need to do with it. Someone asked why I'm crying. Man, because your mama just made me bust the meanest nut, man. Yeah, man. Listen, your mama got skills. So yeah, when they drain me out and dry me out, yeah, sometimes I cry about it. What are y'all, why are you concerned about me wearing a car? Help me understand this. Are you that smooth brain that you're so concerned about a Carhartt hat? Carhartt is for hard-working men. What's wrong with you? Trump wants to run with the big boys, but he's got no jingles. That's funny. So yeah, I mean, this war on the cartels is really just... All right, so Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has previously condemned the strikes and said the country will defend itself against U.S. aggression. That's exactly what it is. Trump says, on my order, the Secretary of War ordered a lethal kinetic strike on a vessel affiliated with a designated terrorist organization conducting narco trafficking in the USSOUTH area of responsibility. So where's the evidence? Intelligence confirmed. Intelligence? Show us what this intelligence gathered. What intelligence was gathered to show you that this boat had drugs on it? Come on, give us the information. We want to see it. It used to be that when the government had these huge drug busts, they'll set up a table, they'll put all the drugs there, they'll put the weapon there, they'll have arrests made so that they can continue to infiltrate. And where is that at? Where's that at? Oh, I know people are petty. It's all good. Someone asked if I'm a cartel mouth horn. What does that mean? what does that mean? What? Because I'm pointing out the how ridiculous it is to use military assets, which come from our money. We pay for this shit every time they perform these operations. That actually, what are they gaining by destroying these little drug boats? What are they gaining? Okay, they say they're stopping drugs from entering into the country. That's what they say. Well, show us some evidence, goddammit. Why are you blowing these boats up? You can't just swarm the boats with your huge ass vessels and say, look, point your cannons at them and say, stop your boat. We're going to enter and blah, blah, blah. What's up? Someone says go in the house. Obviously, they don't want to hear what I have to say, so I'm going to help them out here. You don't have to come in here and tell me go in the house. You can just not be here. Make it make sense. They blew up one boat. Stop crying. They blew up one drug boat using hundreds of thousands of dollars of our money to blow up a little drug boat. They're wasting resources. That's what they're doing. They're wasting resources. They're wasting time and energy chasing down tiny boats when they could be using that time and energy finding trafficked children. That's what they could be doing. But of course, you guys, it's Donald Trump and you want to suck his balls from the back. So you guys are obviously going to go with what he wants to go with. So it's okay. John Linder says, I'm asking you to make it make sense to me why it bothers you so much, but you don't have a good answer to you. I just told you why. They're wasting resources that the people pay for. See, they could be using those resources and assets for the people within the nation to improve conditions right here in the United States. Instead, they're chasing down tiny drug boats. You don't understand? And they're trying to intimidate the president of Venezuela, a sovereign nation. A sovereign nation minding their own goddamn business, using the excuse of the war on the cartels to engage in this silly bullshit. But I guess you're okay with it. Am I pro-drug? No, because I don't use drugs. I'm not pro-drug, but it's none of my business if a grown-ass man or woman to use drugs. As long as they're not harming anybody, they're minding their own business. They want to sit in their room and shoot up. They want to smoke. They want to sniff a line, and they're enjoying themselves. This is none of my fucking business. I'm pro my goddamn business. That's what I'm pro. And I understand the devastation that the war on drugs has caused within this nation. So what it matter? They're not doing that, bud. Okay, whatever you say. What are they doing then? If they're not doing that, what are they doing? Do you guys have, okay, you guys disagree, but where are the cogent, articulate arguments to go against what I'm saying? They're not wasting money. I pay taxes. Use it. Stay out of my country. You're on the wrong side, homie. Okay, so then you volunteer your money then. If you're okay with the war on drugs and the money that it's costing, then you can go ahead and put your money towards it. And the people that don't agree with it, they can have their money removed from it. Does that make sense? Go ahead and volunteer your money towards a drug cartel war that's not benefiting this country in the least. And then the people that don't agree with it, well, they don't have to have their money spent on it. Does that make sense? No, because you're a statist and you want Donald Trump to be able to extract the wealth from everybody to do what the fuck they want to do because you want to suck his dick from the back. There you go. Does that make sense? Unknown opinionoid says, so instead of having a war on South American drug trafficking, we supposed to do like Camel Toe Harris and lock up all the black. That is the most ridiculous false dilemma I've ever heard in my life. That is the most ridiculous false dilemma I've ever seen. Let me read this again. So instead of having a war on South American drug trafficking, we are supposed to let Camel Toe Harris lock up all the black people in California. Well, Camel Toe Harris has already locked up a shitload of black people in California while they were having a war on drugs. See, the war against the cartels, that's nothing new. They just changed it from war on drugs to war on drug cartels. They have been pretending like they were trying to stop drugs from entering into this country. They've been doing that. They just changed it to the war on the cartels so they can start ramping up operations to try to intimidate Venezuela. They've been had a war on drugs, and yet there's still crack dens. There's still crack dealers on the street. There's still Camel Toe Harrises locking people up. What are you thinking about? That is a fallacy known as a false dilemma that you just presented to me. How about neither one? How about not having war on drugs so that Camel Toe Harris is not capable of locking up black folks for drugs? If you want to help people on drugs and you want to spend money on it, put more resources into information and rehabilitation and things like that. Things that actually help people stop using the drugs, instead of when they get released, they go use the drugs again, or they use the drugs in prison. They use drugs in prison. They sell drugs in prison. This war on drugs does not stop. It does not stop the trafficking of drugs and the use of drugs. How are we have a war on drugs, but our government is still bringing drugs into this country on purpose to flood the streets with it so that they can have a reason to lock people up. But you're telling me that is either or. Okay, pimpin', whatever you say. $70 to 50 people, and 55 likes. So what? Because I'm talking about Donald Trump, and a lot of y'all don't like it. I'm not gonna kiss his ass for a like some of your favorite people will. I'm not gonna lick his balls and suck his dick from the back like your favorite conservative commentators. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna point out the inconsistencies and where shit don't make sense. Yeah. Oh, now I'm a leftist. I'm a leftist because I'm criticizing Donald Trump. Y'all are funny as hell. Y'all are funny as hell. You guys are steeped in the left-right paradigm bullshit so badly that if I criticize Trump, I'm a leftist. If I say something about somebody on the left, I'm a conservative nutbasket. You can't make this shit up. Hell no, I'm not a leftist. I'm not a leftist. No, I'm not. I'm an anarchist. Just don't block people for giving their opinions. You haven't seen me block anybody for giving their opinions. You'll get blocked if you act like you have reasons, but not for your opinion. Your money to engage in this war on cartels that amount to nothing. The motherfucker blew up 3 boats and produced nothing for it. Somebody says, anyway, there was what was gained by doing that? There was no drugs. There was no weapons found. There were no arrests made. You just blowing up boats, and you're telling us, oh, it had drugs on it. Yes, Rio Coronado focus on rehabilitation. They can do that. They can put resources toward that. But no, they want to put resources in the prisons, and they want to invest in the private prison system so that they can get their kickbacks. Previously in a previous live stream that I re-uploaded and reshared on my community tab, I talked about how judges are selling people up the river, including kids, to the private prisons. They get paid. They get paid to lock people up and give them ridiculous sentences for the most minor infractions, for the most minor thing. These things are happening. Private prisons, imagine that. People are profiting off of people getting locked up. And the private prison owners give money and donations to your representatives, to your judges, to people like that, and they can do it legally. Big private prison is a special interest group. Have I thought about applying to... Y'all are funny. What kind of anarchism you into? What do you mean, what kind of anarchism? Pure anarchy. No authority. That's what anarchy is. No authority figures, no leaders, no rulers. Well, there's nothing wrong with leaders. No dictators, no rulers, no big daddy government. None of that. That's what anarchy is. Why? I'm not supporting drugs. I'm supporting people's individual choice to use drugs if that's what they want to do. And if it's causing them problems in their life, well, they should be able to have resources to eliminate their dependency on drugs, right? But you want to lock up a bunch of nonviolent offenders because they're using drugs. Well, fentanyl, guess what? If it wasn't for the war on drugs, fentanyl wouldn't necessarily be a thing, right? But they use fentanyl. Big Pharma uses opioids. They put opioids in their medicines. They put opioids and shit. It is what it is. Exactly, JJ McGuire. I'm not paying for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead. I mean, it's your body, your choice, right? You know, now if you are causing harm to other people, and you don't even have to be on drugs to violate other people. People do it all the time. Kids should not do drugs. You're absolutely right. I'm supporting criminality. What is criminal about a person using drugs and minding their own goddamn business? How is that criminal? In order to be a criminal, you have to create a victim. What victim have you created by smoking a joint? You go in the room and you mind your business, you smoke a joint. What criminal, who are you, what victim have you created by doing that? You guys don't even know what crime is. Yeah, nonviolent drug. Not somebody got caught with a bag of weed, minding their own damn business. Maybe they were hotboxing in the car. They got pulled over. They had a little dime bag in their car. Now they got to do 5 years. What violence did they commit? Man, you guys are wild up in here. Weed isn't the cartel's work. Y'all don't know shit about what the cartels do. Obviously, the cartels are into everything. You don't think they're into weed? If they see a market for it, even though it's illegal in California, you don't think that there are cartel members that own weed shops? Y'all need to wake the fuck up. Y'all have such a limited view of how shit really works. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Yeah. Opioids have been around for centuries. People have been using opioids for centuries. They had opioid dens, okay, all over the world. People go to these opioid dens and they do the opium, and then it is what it is. Back in the day, they used to have milk of the poppy. It was a pain reliever. It was pain medicine back in the day. Yeah, they take the poppy. That's because that's where the heroin comes from. They take milk of the poppy, and they'll take it and they'll give it to their patients as a pain reliever. And then, but people used to they would get hooked on the shit, so they had to give them limited amounts of it. That shit's been around for a long time. It's something that it is what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Thank y'all for coming through. Realize said thanks Freedom. They off the chain in here. They always off the chain because they don't want to hear the truth. They want you to think like they do, and they want you to think like Trump wants you to think. But I'm telling you, what have we gained from these little boat blowups? Tell me when they actually have evidence of, let it be a larger vessel that's trying to bring tons of drugs into the country. Can we see that? Look at what we got. We have evidence to show the evidence of these motherfuckers trying to bring drugs into the country, and then show the drugs, and at least that would amount to something, right? Oh, look, and when we caught this guy, he gave up this guy and gave up that guy, and we were able to blah, blah, blah. We were able to give the names of these cartel leaders to Maduro and tell them, you give up these cartel leaders in your country, or we're going to have problems. That would make a little more sense to me. I would still think, no, you violating doing that, Donald Trump, but at least it would make sense toward what they are trying to achieve, or what they want you to think they're trying to achieve. At least tell Maduro, look, we know who the cartel leaders are. Give them to us and we'll go away. Give us the leaders, lock them up, release them to us. Bada boom, bada bing. We done caught 3, 4, 5 drug cartel leaders, and y'all can execute them. Y'all can do whatever the fuck you want. At least then we would have some level. Okay, Donald Trump's actually trying to do something. He's not actually trying to invade and take over Venezuela because he made a deal with Maduro. Look, we'll leave y'all alone. Just give us these drug leaders, and then we'll go on about our business. Now, they're not doing that. They're blowing up a bunch of little vessels and telling y'all there's drugs on them. But again, what is it? It's not accomplishing shit. There's what have we gained from it? And that's what I'm saying. No drug boat is tiny. Compared to the ships that are blowing them up, they are. He offered $50 million for the leader. What was the leader? No, he offered $50 million for Maduro. That's what he offered $50 million for. And he's trying to imply that Maduro is part of the drug cartels. It's a bunch of bullshit in my opinion, because he hasn't showed any evidence. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Bayer skill games. Prove there are no drugs in the boats. I can't prove there are no drugs in the boat. You can't prove a negative. You can't prove a negative. You can't prove there isn't something you can't prove that there's nothing there. There's no way to do that. If there's nothing there, then there's nothing there. There's nothing to prove at that point. You can't prove a negative. You can't prove the non-existence of something. All you can say is there's no evidence that there is anything there. No, I'm not supposed to prove that there are no drugs in the boat. The people, the accusers, are supposed to prove that there are drugs on the boat. You're telling me to prove that there's nothing. There's no way to do that. Either you can prove that there's something there, or you can't. That made no sense whatsoever. There's no. You believe nonsense and then preach it. So did your mama. You are saying there are no drugs on the boat. How do you know? I didn't say there were no drugs on the boat. When did I say there are no drugs on the boat? I said they haven't proven that there were drugs on the boat. They haven't shown that there are drugs on the boat. If there were drugs on the boat, they blew the fucking boat up. So then you have destroyed any evidence that there are drugs on the boat. I didn't say there were no drugs on the boat. Y'all just hear what y'all want to hear. Trump is mad that China is boycotting U.S. soybeans. He's going to try to blow up South America soybean ships to stop them at the Panama Canal. Well, I don't know nothing about that. I haven't heard about that. I got to look that up. That would be wild. Anyway, y'all, gotta get out of here. Much love, like, share, subscribe. Y'all stay up. Y'all stay frosty. Keep your head on a swivel. And in my opinion, one should always question their government's actions, especially when they're using military resources to blow up tiny little boats. Salute to Marianne Kopech. Salute to you. Well, I'm good, Marianne. Trust me, this ain't nothing. Do I question Trump? Absolutely. What are you talking about? I'm questioning Trump right now in this whole idea about tiny little boats having drugs on it that they're blowing up. Yeah, I'm questioning it. So it is what it is. Much love, like, share, subscribe. Y'all stay up. Hit that like button on the way out. And thank you guys for coming through. Thank you for your disagreements. Thank you for presenting your arguments if you did. Even if you disagreed and all you said was you're not making sense and you're lying. I mean, it is what it is. No, I don't trust Trump. How do they know the boat had drugs? Well, they're saying they had intelligence that said the boat had drugs on it. So imagine, imagine they bring that same philosophy to the citizens of the U.S. and they can just say, oh, this car has drugs on it. Let's blow it up. Right? So you driving down the road and they think you have drugs. Instead of stopping you and arresting you and trying to see if you got drugs on the boat on your car, they just blow the shit up. And they say, yeah, that and they tell the people, yeah, just blow up this car, had 3 people in it and a shitload of drugs. Well, where are the drugs? We blew it up. It's the shit caught fire, you know. Imagine if they did that right here on U.S. soil. Blew up vehicles because they said they had drugs in it. So anyway, much love, like, share, subscribe, and we're going to keep marching forward toward freedom. Because understand that cartels operate right here in the U.S. And all they have to say, yeah, that car had drug cartel members in it, and they're a terrorist organization, and they had drugs in the car, and we just blew the shit up. And y'all would just be okay with it, right?